On this Monday night, another edition of Knicks Weekly presented by Mancaped. Couple of weeks away, 10 days away from the kickoff of the 2022-2023 season. Knicks have 2 preseason games left. And on these episodes of Knicks Weekly, as we build up to the start of the season, we're talking season expectations. Tonight's episode, we're going to talk about Obi Toppin, Jalen Brunson, and Evan Fournier, and we got a special guest with us tonight. Our guy Anthony MSG has returned to KnicksFanTV. So let's get it in. Hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Salute to everybody in the chat. Lock in. Let's get it going, man. Another edition of Knicks Weekly presented by Mancaped, CP the Franchise, JD Sports Talk, Alex Rotaros, and Anthony MSG in the building, man. And how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling pretty good. Feeling pretty sore too. If you follow my social media, I had posted that I ran 20 miles today. As a lot of people know, I've been training for the New York City Marathon, and today I put away 20 miles, 3 1/4 laps around Central Park. And the Central Park's a very big park, and running around that park 3 1/4 times equals 20 miles. So physically, I feel great. I'm very sore right now, and I probably will be all day tomorrow. And that's probably expected, no matter what kind of shape you're in. If you run 20 miles, that's very Forrest Gumpish right there, you know?
Yeah, that's crazy, man. But I guess you kind of uncover everything there to see about Central Park when you're taking those type of journeys.
Yeah, man. Central Park is a beautiful place, and I feel like as New Yorkers, that's something we should probably take advantage of more. Most of my runs, all my runs, with the exception of a few, have been in the Bronx, around where I live. But the last few weeks on my long runs, I've gone down to the park and did laps around the park, and it's an incredible atmosphere, great energy. The weather's been great, so here we are, man. I'm ready for this thing. It's a little less than a month away, and bring it on.
Now, we're wishing you a lot of luck, man. And as we get into the show, we're going to talk about the group that you're with. Talk a little bit about the group and how we could get involved with them for sure. So we definitely will touch on that as the show progresses. But I wanted to get your thoughts as we kick off the season and talk about our season expectations, player predictions. Let's start with our point guard, man. Our new point guard, Jalen Brunson. Give me some of your thoughts about Jalen Brunson and some of your expectations for the season.
I like Jalen Brunson. He's definitely a dog. He's not that big. He's strong, but he's a winner. He knows how to win. And I think when we've had, such terrible point guard play for so long, and obviously last year with Derrick Rose getting hurt and Kemba Walker unfortunately being washed, we didn't have the greatest point guard play, and just for so long. I don't gotta run the list down. Yeah. Everybody knows point guard play has not been great the last 20 years yet. So I think Jalen Brunson is an amazing upgrade. I like what he brings to the table, and like I said, after the last few years, it's an upgrade. I think better point guard play. And listen, everybody now is such an analyst, and all their data analytics, I don't even know half the stuff that's out there right now. Yeah. Better point guard play makes this team substantially better. I'm not saying there's going to be a parade in June at the Canyon of Heroes, but what I will say is adding Jalen Brunson with this team makes us so much better.
Yeah, no question, man. Look, the first preseason game, obviously, we've seen what he's become, right? You watch that playoff series in Dallas without Luka Doncic, he was on a tear. He was on an absolute tear. And then you look at him now, the first preseason game, first play of the game, and he gets into the paint. It's a tough floater over 3 defenders at his size. And I'm just sitting there like, damn, we finally got a point guard, man.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly. Exactly. And like I said, he knows how to win. He's won everywhere he's been, high school, college, the pros. And him and Thibs have a good relationship. They really get each other. So I think that's going to help us so much. And hopefully it makes the game, even though he hasn't shot the ball well in preseason, hopefully it makes the game easier for Julius Randle. Yeah. I think it should. And anytime you have a good point guard, it makes the game easier for everybody else. That's just basketball. It's not, basketball is not that complicated. It's just
No, I agree, man. And as you pointed to the Kemba experiment. They wanted that to help boost
We
this
all did.
offense.
We all listen. We were all
Yeah.
sold. Chaz Palminteri was doing the voiceovers. We were ready to go. Bronx was in the house, but unfortunately, there was probably it looked bad. I know a lot of ex players were upset, but Thibs probably knew what he was doing when he benched him. It looked weird.
Yeah.
The optics sucked, but Kemba he respectfully washed.
Yeah, no, I agree, man. JD, jump in here. What are your thoughts and expectations of Jalen Brunson so far?
Well, he's definitely been as advertised. So far you see it in preseason. I'm already looking forward to the matchup with Ja Morant. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah.
I'm already looking forward to it, just because. Although when you look at rankings, you're not going to put him, I guess, in the top 10. I just think he will play like a top 10 point guard when he faces certain matchups, just because of that playoff experience. He has already the experience of understanding the responsibilities of being the general, because he had games without Luka in a pressure situation in a city with Dallas, where I know in the NFL the Cowboys are known, but Dallas is a pretty decent market when it comes to pressure, and then playing with Jason Kidd, I think that hasn't been talked about, but Jason Kidd being a point guard, I'm sure there were a little bit of things there that he's going to take with him and bring here to the New York Knicks. So you already see it in preseason. I think one of the things that you see is when you look at Julius Randle has played 40 minutes so far in preseason and has 0 turnovers. Yeah. Now, I'm not saying that's all because of Brunson, but I'm hoping that that's one of the things that he adds to each player is what can he do for Julius? What can he do, for RJ? What can he do for some of the young players? I think you're going to start to see the importance of having a point guard like Jalen. So again, I'm not saying he's a superstar point guard, but I think what you will see is when he faces the Trae Youngs, he faces these matchups, although a guy like, for example, like Trae Young may be more talented, Trae Young doesn't play defense. And Jalen Brunson will understand the weaknesses of his matchups, and I'm pretty sure he's going to exploit it because the guys that have his makeup are guys that watch film, that understand scouting reports, and understand showing up in big games. And I know it's only preseason, but you can just see he is not going to be intimidated at all by the contract or the stage here at Madison Square Garden. So can't wait to see him this season.
Shout out Gregory W in the chat. He says his Jalen Brunson hive is growing every game, man. And yeah, you spoke on it, man. Yeah, he's going to have tough matchups, obviously, with some absolute dogs out there as floor generals. But you know what? From what we've seen so far, he's going to compete. Right, we know he has size limitations and all of that, but he's going to compete. First preseason game against the Pistons, he draws 3 offensive fouls. They got him switched out, whether it's Sadiq Bey or he's guarding Cade, so on and so forth. He's scrapping out there, and so that's one of the things you want to see. Obviously, it's going to be heavily reliant upon the team concept that Thibs is preaching out there, but nevertheless, it starts at the perimeter, and so it's good to see him competing out there.
And he's very crafty. I love how crafty he is, because when you look at the matchup between him and Ja Morant on opening night, Ja's like power, quick, jumping over you, dunking from the foul line. Jalen Brunson's the opposite of that. And his footwork and his ability to get to spots where he wants is exceptional. Yeah,
and JD mentioned Julius with no turnovers. Thibs spoke. He's been raving about Brunson since he's got here, but one of the things he talked about was him having a common influence on the rest of the lineup. And so, with Julius and RJ, 2 of the guys that are going to have high usage in this lineup, having a Brunson that can take some pressure off of them, handle the rock, obviously more often, which should certainly help. And then his demeanor, his common demeanor, should certainly help as well. So, Al, go ahead and jump in.
Stability, calmness, leadership. That's what I got for Jalen Brunson, okay? Yeah. You look at him on the court for these past couple of games we've seen throughout his entire career. You can even go back to high school from what all of his coaches and everyone else has talked about him. He doesn't get too high. He doesn't get too low. He tries to stay even keel, analyze the game, stay in the moment. Each possession counts for him. That's what I've liked and what I've seen so far from him from these 2 preseason preseason games being a New York Knick. And even when you see that as a Dallas Maverick too, right? You talk about when he was down in Utah during those playoff matchups, he didn't get too high. He just worried about what he had to do on this play, who he had to get it to, and all those things. So I like that comments about him. Leadership, man. He knows when to play on ball, when to be off ball. You know, Thibs said it in his presser that he's a student of the game, right? And a student of the game knows that you have to be able to adapt to different situations because you're not going to be able to do the same thing and overpower somebody. You know, unless you're LeBron James or you're Giannis Antetokounmpo, when you're Jalen Brunson, you have to figure out, okay, this matchup is different than going against Cade. Okay, I'm going against Ja tonight, as JD mentioned. I'm going against whoever. Each matchup is different for him, and to do that and to be so good, that means you have to know your opponent and know your skill sets as well. One of my favorite quotes is from my boy who I played pickup ball with. You got to play within your envelope, right? So he knows what he can do, and he knows what to bring to the court every single night. So, you know, when you see him playing with RJ, Randall, whoever, you know, he knows when to play make, when to be off ball, when to be on ball, when to score. Like we saw at these past two preseason games, offense was stagnant. He was like, all right, it's my time. All right, I'm going to do it. No one else has got it. Let me get this game going and then get somebody else activated so that way I can save myself. I like that stability. We haven't had a point guard, as Anthony said, for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
I watch this team right now.
Ray Feld was good. Ray Feld was good.
We got to give props to Ray. We got to give props to Ray.
First stint,
second
stint, it was cool.
Wait,
it wasn't a consistent 20 years. Consistent 20 years.
You gonna disrespect Elfrid Payton like that?
Yeah.
Oh wow.
I mean, listen. Marbury had the skills. It was just a disaster when it was
just a disaster, man.
Steph balled, but it was just
terrible.
everything else that just went wrong.
It was.
I always respect Marbury's 20 numbers.
It was
That's
a nutty
Hall of Fame
time
numbers
in Knicks
right
land,
there,
but
man.
Steph can play.
Yeah. Night, what is it? 19-8, 20-8. You got to respect that, bro.
20-8. Him and Oscar Robertson at that time.
Got to respect that, bro.
Let me ask you guys a question. Do you guys think, you know, offensively, is Jalen Brunson our number one option?
No, like when you need it, like he had the ball in his hands the most, but like I would say the number one option would probably still be Julius / RJ. But you know, I wouldn't be shocked. It's any of those three.
Yeah, I think it's going to get spread around, man. Just like how you're seeing the scoring distribution has been pretty even. I think it's going to be dependent on who's the hot hand that night. Some nights it might be RJ in crunch time, might be Brunson who can go out there and get you a bucket, maybe operate out the pick and roll. Might be Julius in isolation. Who knows?
I could see crunch time. Derrick Rose playing next to Jalen Brunson,
or
quickly as well. But I think Thibs loves Derrick Rose into the end of the game.
Yeah,
he loves him.
Thibs is going to have his hand full. Go ahead, Al.
But even what we saw the last preseason game, right? It started off with, I think, RJ being the hot hand. Then it went to Brunson and then Randall. I feel like that's what we're going to see every single
They had
night.
their
It's
moments.
just going to be even. Yeah, everyone had their moments. I think that is what we're going to see. Maybe you will get nights where someone's going to go off, right? And go get 30, 40 points. So it's going to happen. Yeah. But I think for the most part, we're going to see an even distribution of scoring amongst all three of them. Unless someone takes a massive leap this season and just becomes that dominant, I just think it's going to be even all around.
Yeah, no question. And you talked about him knowing who he is and knowing his game. And I think that's part of the reason why his turnovers are always so low. You know, one of the highest assist-to-turnover ratios in the league. Very steady hand, always careful with the ball, rarely makes a mistake. You know, I think he only had like one turnover in the Pistons game. Not sure how much in the Pacers game, but, you know, always just in control of the game. I think that's what Thibs has really raved about, you know, with Brunson.
Like Tim said, CP, he may not look the part, but he is the part.
Yeah, but he is a part. And like I said, man, for his size, the way he maneuvers and operates in the paint, how he creates advantages over guys, he's very cunning, he's very smart. And again, that efficiency in the paint is something that this team needs. You know, we've been in the bottom 10 of the league in offensive efficiency in the last 4 years. I think he's going to help us with that tremendously, man. He's been number 3 in the league in pick and roll ball handler, which is ferocious. And that's with among people who have at least 250 ball handling possessions over the last 2 years. 14th in 2-point percentages on his pull-ups. 14th in the league. You know, the 2-point efficiency is going to be really, really solid for us. And I think he's going to help us. You know, one thing where we were a good team 2 years ago when Julius was just playmaking like crazy was on catch and shoot threes. You know, I read the stat. This was on NBA.com. I read the stat that The only person with more three-pointer assists over the last 2 years than Julius is Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic, 486. Julius Randle, 474 over the last 2 years.
That's
Wow.
On threes. On threes.
very interesting.
Yeah. So, but
Randall
I say,
better give Evan Fournier. Randall better give Evan Fournier a gift for all that.
Yeah, but I mean, think about that. 2 years ago when Randall was cooking, it was Bullock that was eating. You know what I mean? RJ was eating a lot of those catches.
RJ, yep.
RJ in the corner.
Yeah, but I say that to say I think Brunson will help in that regard because last year it took a step back. Last year they finished around, so I think they were second to last in catch and shoot threes behind Utah in terms of their shot percentage. So I think Brunson will help that because his ability to drive, he's going to create so much gravity. You have to pay attention to him. So he's going to draw 2-3 guys into the paint, and then you're going to have guys open on the perimeter. So that's up to RJ, it's up to Julius, and obviously Fournier to, knock down those jumpers when it's there. So, for me, Brunson, he's going to bring a solid package to this team. Only other areas, I would say, obviously his assist numbers were kind of low in Dallas. We'll see if those kind of increase here with the Knicks. Like I said, he's going to have a lot of opportunities to create for others and pull-up jumpers. He was only 31% from pull-up threes. Pull-up twos, he was excellent. Pull-up threes, only 31%, 28% in the playoffs. He's going to have the ball in his hands a lot more. Would like to see if those numbers are going to increase a little bit. And if he takes more threes, with this team. He didn't take as many threes with Dallas. So those are kind of the two areas. I would say the assist numbers, pull-up threes, and overall three-point attempts to see if he increases those.
Well, CP, without playing with Luka, he's going to have the basketball in his hands, so much more,
Yeah.
I mean, he also believe he was 7th or 8th last year in charges taken, and you've already seen in preseason. He's in preseason and he's already getting beat up, taking charges. So I think, when it comes to toughness and grit, Knicks fans are going to see very early on, he has a very good IQ on understanding how to get calls. I also think on the other end, when you look at like some of the players we've had with Melo, even RJ, from a fan experience standpoint, we've never had. And I don't think Brunson's a flopper, but if you notice, because of he's on the smaller end, he acts a little bit when he gets contact to get the call. I'm just excited to finally have a player because I look around the NBA, I see all these guys around the NBA, they always get these calls because they just know how to sell it.
He sells it well.
Brunson knows how to sell contact. And I've been on the frustrating end with the way refs can, ref RJ when he brings it up to the basket. We've seen it with Carmelo Anthony. We've seen it with a lot of Knicks players in the past. We finally have someone that, can sell some calls here and there, 100%. And that'll be different to see.
Yeah.
He got 9 free throw attempts during the last preseason game. Between him and Quickly, man, just getting to the line. It's nice to know that we have another player, especially in the starting rotation, that can knock down their free throws. Because we all know in clutch moments, sometimes RJ, Julius, when they're at the free throw line, you're not 100% sure. Yeah. Even Burks, you're not even 100% sure that is going to be a knockdown shot. So with Brunson going 9 for 9 last preseason game, I think we should all have some confidence that, one, because of his footwork and how he's able to draw big men to just get big men to cause contact with him. One, gonna get to the free throw line, and 2, the fact that you can knock him down. That's the stuff that's been killing us the last 2 seasons too. Yeah, man, I'm so hyped for that. And he gets calls, as JD said. He gets calls. So between him and Quickly, that we're not gonna miss a step there between the starters and the bench.
Yeah, 9 for 9 for him. And I think the Knicks in that game against the Pacers, I think they were like 25 for 26. So, obviously it's just a preseason game, it's just one game, but that's certainly a good sign. And obviously as the floor general, it's nice to see that he can absolutely, knock it down. So that's a good thing. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. CP, JD, Alex, Anthony, MSG in the building. Another episode of Knicks Weekly presented by Mancaped. Make sure you guys are hitting that like button and share these videos. Share this video right this second, man. Share it on Twitter, wherever you guys do your social medias, man. Email your grandma, let her know. Number one show for the fans by the fans is on live and popping right now. We got the rhyme animal Chuck D in the chat, always with us, never misses a show. Shout out to Chuck. Shout out to TM, all the mods in the chat. And if you guys are new in the chat, leave us a hashtag new. We'll definitely shout you guys out. And we'll be taking calls in a little bit. Chucks drops a super chat, $10 super chat, says not overhyping Brunson, but his lateral floor game speaks of rare durability. He can get to anywhere on the floor and move the player in front of him around. His floor strength is like J. Kidd. I think that's an excellent comment. I agree with that 100%. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think that's a great comment.
Yeah.
And he worked with J. Kidd too, so I'm sure J. Kidd had some, we asked Derek Harper this question, working with J. Kidd, how's that helped Brunson's game? And I think having J. Kidd as a head coach last season on the Mavericks has taken his game to another level. I wouldn't be surprised if Kidd was just like, hey man, this is what worked for me. If you do this, you're gonna see a leap in your game.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And shout out to Papo171, $5 super chat. He says, my guy Anthony MSG showing love always to Wash Heights. So shout out to Papo in the building. Shout out Anthony MSG. Okay, so we touched on Brunson. How about Evan Fournier, ladies and gentlemen? Evan Fournier, the leading three-point scorer in a season for the New York Knicks. Came in last year. Mixed reactions from the fans. But I thought Fournier overall had a pretty strong year, man.
Yeah,
I thought he had a.
You're in the Fournier hive, right?
Opening night.
I already see CP
He was Michael Jordan.
No
opening
comments.
night.
No comments, man. No.
How about opening night Fournier versus Celtics?
The Boston Celtic killer. Put some respect on his name, man.
Yep.
Boston Celtic killer, man. 38% from three. I think he had about 7 attempts. High volume guy. In my opinion, in this offense, his shooting ability is going to be much needed. We all know Julius and RJ aren't the most efficient players. Overall, the team's effective field goal percentage was, again, in the bottoms of the league. I think Fournier helps with that. Obviously, his three-point shooting you have to respect. I like the ability for him to relocate. I spoke about that on the show with Han. He and Julius, that chemistry started to pick up as the season progressed. It was kind of on that level that Julius had with Bullock. That was encouraging to see. I think, again, he'll be a good outlet for Brunson. He'll give you some, secondary playmaking, tertiary playmaking if he needs to. And that's Fournier's game. He is who he is at this point in his career. As far as improvements, he is who he is at this point of his career. Like, I don't see any lightning striking with Fournier to be better at his weaknesses, right? His strength is shooting, and that's what he's going to bring. Overall, I think he's just going to be, a seat warmer for Quentin Grimes, ultimately to take over. But for right now, it's Fournier's job to lose. Who else?
I agree with that. Like you said, CP, he is what he is. He's a solid player. He can get hot sometimes. If he's wide open from three, there's a solid chance he's going to knock it down. Obviously, so many fans look at the big contract and him starting, and they get so mad. And I get it, and I get him starting. He's a veteran. He has a big contract. I totally understand why he would potentially start. And I thought it was weird that so many people got mad when a reporter asked Thibs, is he the favorite for the starting shooting guard position? And Thibs said, yeah, I guess he's the favorite. And people said it how Thibs announced him as the starting shooting guard. That's not what he did. But yeah, Fournier is who he is. Hopefully that spot is Quentin Grimes' spot, whether that's or maybe Fournier starts all year and Quentin Grimes plays, starters minutes. That's very possible.
I think
also.
He'll definitely close. I think Grimes is definitely close.
Right. Yeah. Listen, like you said, Fournier is what he is. I don't think he's bad, and whether he's worth the contract or not, that's just the NBA now. You got 7th, 8th men with, big bags. So I don't really look at contracts in the NBA as much as I did 15, 20 years ago. But guys be getting crazy contracts in the NBA forever. So like you said, Fournier is who he is. He'll get hot sometimes. And with the better ball movement this year, we talked about how Jalen Brunson can help a Julius Randle. Well, Jalen Brunson is probably going to help get Evan Fournier better looks.
Yeah.
And if Fournier is shooting just more wide open threes as opposed to taking it off the dribble, that's way better for everybody involved.
Yeah, no question. JD, your thoughts on Evan Fournier?
Well, you know how I feel.
2 second rounders. 2 second rounders.
I still do it today. I'll do it today. But I mean, you know, like you said, we brought him here to shoot the three. And I can't be mad at the fact that he is a very good 3-point shooter. He's a great interview for the reporters. I know the reporters love him. He seems to be a good teammate. I honestly like his candidness when he speaks to the media. He seems to always give you a nugget there. He seems to expand on the X's and O's and some of the stuff that he talks about with in regards to on the basketball court. But I would like for his free throw shooting to improve a little bit. He shot a career low last year, around 70%. He's never shot there. I know he only shot 1 attempt, but if you're shooting 1 attempt, I would like you to get it up there. But I think it'll be interesting to see though his minutes, because I know we are all projecting him to be have a certain amount of minutes and then Grimes going to take over. But again, when you look at, Tom Thibodeau, we thought the same thing with Alec Burks, and he started all the way through and he got big minutes. So yeah. I still think it's a wait and see, because he's a veteran that can still, provide you productivity, especially from the 3-point line. So how does the coach see that? Does the coach just, ride the veteran out for the rest of the season and, wait a little bit on Grimes in terms of the minutes? We'll see, because, it's merit based according to Thibs, right? So what if, Fournier starts the season like he did in January of last season, where he shot almost 48% from 3? Yeah. Fournier starts hot, and the chemistry starts going, then I anticipate he's gonna get minutes. So I'm interested to see is if he plays very well, do the Knicks keep him under a certain structure of minutes, or will we see, a veteran play big minutes throughout the season? Other than that, I mean, I think, on the defensive end, on isolation situations, you're not going to get much. I mean, you saw it in preseason where he was blown by a few times, blown by him, yeah. Right, Alex?
Hit that thumbs up, man. He avoided the flagrant 3. Let's go. Good catch. Right? It's good catch.
I wanted to make sure that Alex heard that very well.
Thank you, JD. Appreciate it.
So, I mean, I personally don't think he should be the starter. But, it looks like he's going to start, this season. So we'll see what happens.
How about you, man?
Yeah. Well, yeah, look, I'm to add on to JD's point when it comes to minutes, I'm looking to see where it goes this season, because yes, because we know how Thibs feels about Quentin Grimes. I mean, Thibs was a big factor in wanting to keep him here during the whole Donovan Mitchell trade saga. And when you look at Evan Fournier's career, he's been averaging around 30 minutes his entire career. And I wonder if that's where it's going to play in for Grimes this season. But for Fournier, I'm also curious as how is he going to fit into this starting rotation with guys like Brunson, Randall, RJ, who are going to dominate the ball. Because last season we saw in that starting rotation, he was given, I'd say, like a second, third option role on this team, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, he wasn't given all the play calling that he had down in Orlando. We didn't get to see a lot of those curls and him drive to the basket and get the mid range or the floater going. It was a lot of catch and shoot threes as we've been discussing. So I'm wondering how that's going to fit, because his game is much more than just a catch and three shooter. Yes, this team needs it. We need his shooting badly, because we've hadn't had a lot of shooting prior to that, a lot of good shooting prior to that. Now we got him, quickly, Grimes. We got a lot of good shooting on this team. RJ's improved. I'm just wondering where how are you going to utilize his skill set fully on this team, especially when you got to focus on giving RJ his touches, Randall his touches. Brunson's going to be dominating the ball for most of the game since he's the point guard. How do you get Evan Fournier his playmaking ability out there and to shine? That's where I think for him coming as a bench unit, and this is where I always think, like, if you have Grimes, who's a true 3-and-D guy right now, it just makes sense to allow Evan Fournier's skill sets to shine even more on this team and to potentially help this team by being a bench player. So I'm curious how it's going to work out for him. I'm with UCP. I think Grimes will become the ultimate starter on this team at shooting guard at some point during the season. Even though Fournier, I get it, Thibs likes him. He's going to give it to the veteran right now. He earned it last season, top shooter last year. Mm-hmm. I get it. I'm just wondering, how are you going to allow Fournier to truly shine in a crowded, a crowded starting unit with those three guys. I mean, we even saw for Cam, right? Cam was struggling to get his game going for a little bit, but Cam's a different issue, right? It's a different issue for Cam, but how many touches can he get? First preseason game we saw with Evan Fournier, he only had 3 shot attempts, 2 shots from 3, 1 from inside the arc. So
I think that's a fair question. I think that's a fair question.
So that's I like Fournier. We need his shooting, but there's a lot of question marks how he's going to be utilized on this team.
Yeah, no, I think that's a fair question. But one thing for sure, just like last year, I think his spot is going to be up for grabs when it comes to closing. I think that's going to go to Grimes, going to go to IQ, Rose, whoever's a hot hand, matchups.
Do we put too much stock sometimes over the years in who starts though? I mean, substitutions are being made 5 minutes into the game. I mean, sometimes we put too much stock in who starts the game.
Well, I think over the last couple of years, and where the Knicks are concerned, because they get off to such slow starts, especially defensively, sometimes offensively, I think it's mattered more so because they just get off to those tough starts.
Last year, those first quarters were terrible.
Yeah. So I just think it's just how they started. I mean, they were 19th. They were 19th in the league last year in first quarter points per game, 30th in third quarter. Remember, the third quarters are even worse.
Third quarter of doom.
Third quarter's even worse. So I think when it comes to them, because of the way their offense can be a little bit tricky, it does matter a bit. But like I said, in Fournier's case, I think his spot is gonna rotate depending on matchups, what you need that night. You need more offense. You need more shot making. Do you go to Quickly? Do you go to Rose? Or do you go to Grimes to get you a stop? In pivotal situations, that's where Thibs is going to have to earn his check.
And I don't want to hear anymore the whole narrative of you got to play him to boost his value to trade him, because I think Bojan Bogdanovic, who in my opinion is a better player, and Danny Ainge of all GMs, Danny Ainge was a guy you think could get at least a draft pick on a guy that's on an expiring deal. And he couldn't even do that for Bogdanovic. So, when you look at Fournier, that's why I think the Knicks are in a tough spot, because you have the contract, but I don't think because of what he offers. I mean, how much more? I mean, after the way he finished last season, you couldn't even move him unless you attach an asset. What more could he do this season for you to tell me that you're going to get some value? So to me, they're kind of stuck there. And that's why, in my opinion, if it can't be business related, because what are you going to get even if you play him 30 minutes? So that's why I wouldn't even, I would go with the youth a little bit earlier. But let's see what happens. Hopefully he can, the minutes that he plays, here's the good thing. I will say he knows what he has to do, right? When you're a player and you know what you have to do, hit your 3-point shots. That's the best that you can do. Everything else, you let, the front office and the coaching staff and those people take care of it.
Yeah, no doubt about it, man. And let me just hit this reset real quick. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Another episode of Knicks Weekly presented by Mancaped. Let's get those likes up. We got 222 likes tonight. We got to get those likes up, people. Hit that like button right this second. Hit that thumbs up button right below on your screen. If you're watching on your phone, it's right below this video. If you're watching on your TV, you got to navigate the menu screen to get those likes up. Remember that tonight's show is presented by Mancaped, fellas. Go to mancaped.com. Enter promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. You have the Lawnmower 4.0 and a ton of great men's products, man. The shampoo, conditioner, body wash, deodorant. You got the ball deodorant. Whatever you're into, man. They got a ton of products for you guys, man. Go to manscaped.com. Promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. As I said, tonight's special guest, we got Anthony Donahue, Anthony MSG in the building. Shout out to my guy for coming back. And Ant, talk a little bit more about, the organization that you're going to be running with in the marathon and how we could support.
Yeah, for sure. So for people that have been following my story over the years, my little sister, who was more than just a little sister to me, I raised her. She beat brain cancer when she was 12. Unfortunately, it came back 7 years later in 2019. And on August 29, 2020, she passed away at the age of 21. And the foundation, the IronMatt Foundation, is a children's brain cancer foundation. The woman who runs it, Kelly, she lost her son to brain cancer back about 15 years ago when he was about 7 years old. And what they do is they raise funds for, of course, cancer research, but brain cancer research. But the main thing they do is they raise funds for families that are going through brain cancer. So if you're going through brain cancer, right, and you got your kid's sick, right, it's expensive. And I don't just mean like medical bills. It's like if you're taking care of a kid with cancer, it's a full-time job. So when you go to the hospital for an appointment, parking is expensive, or maybe it's tough to pay your car payment. And the IronMatt Foundation will take your bills when your kid is sick and just pay them. You got to worry about your kid going to the hospital? Give us your mortgage for the next year. You're good. You don't got to worry about it. So the foundation I'm running for is the IronMatt Foundation. And there's a link in my bio on my Instagram page. I've tweeted it multiple times. And every penny that you donate to me running the marathon will go to the IronMatt Foundation. So it's a very, very special organization.
Well, very well said, man. And we're going to pass that link around in the chat. So for those of you that can, please go ahead and support, man. It's for a worthwhile cause, and we definitely support you on this journey, man. Like I've been telling you, me and you've been talking about it, offline. It's a very, very courageous and inspiring thing that you're doing, man. 26
man,
miles,
I've always enjoyed to run, but no more than 3-4 miles. I feel like every summer the last 10-12 years I would run 3-4 miles 5 days a week. I'd drop like 10 pounds. Then the Knicks season would start. I'd put all the weight back on and then some. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Too much time the Delta Lounge.
Yeah.
You feel me? And then after G passed, I don't drink really. I don't do drugs.
Yeah.
The only thing that was really making me happy was eating, and I definitely blew up a little bit. Put on a pound or 2 or 40. And then around springtime, my friend Kirsten, who's best friends with Kelly, who helps run the foundation, said, would you be interested in running the New York City Marathon? And I was like, yeah, but I'm not in shape to run a marathon. She's like, well, I know you can run, so how about I'll sign you up, and it's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get in the marathon. It's not, you can't just sign up for the New York City Marathon. She's like, listen, I'm going to sign you up, start running, and at this point, I'm like 40 pounds heavier. And you can go to my Instagram page, a few posts down, I posted a side-by-side picture. So I started running late April, early May, and gradually built up. By June, I was maxing out at like 8 miles.
Nice.
Then 9, then 10, then 11, then 12. And, I'm doing 13, 14, 15. And I did 18 last weekend. And I did 20 today. And, I've been running literally the first 2 months I ran 5 days a week. And then since probably mid-June, early July, I've run 6 days a week. 6 days a week. Super committed. All the runs have basically been by myself from where I live in the Bronx, going toward, I live in Co-op City. For those that know the area, I run towards City Island, Orchard Beach, and just however far I'm going, I map out my runs before I go. So some runs you hit Orchard Beach, and then you circle to City Island to the end. And you may go back to Orchard Beach, depending on, how long the run is going to be that particular day. And here we are, man. I'm in the best shape I've been in since I was about 22 years old. I'm not playing too much basketball now because I can't, but I played ball a few times, and I played in yesterday's Knicks event at the Rucker Park, and I feel so great playing ball even.
Yeah.
It's just how I feel physically and mentally has been amazing, and it hasn't even hit me really what I've done the last 4 or 5 months to go from where I was to now. Man, I never dreamed of this, man. I actually got to go on a jean shopping spree soon.
How many pounds did you lose so far?
No, so it's funny you asked that, CP, as so many people have asked. So when I started running in late April, early May, I did not check my weight because I knew it would discourage me so much. I knew the number was going to be kind of high. So I never checked it. So, you can, if you're a weight expert, you want to analyze some of my pictures. I don't know. My guess is between 35 and 45. That's my guess. But I never checked my weight. I never did because I knew it would discourage me so much.
All good, man. Well, the progress is noticeable, and as you say, you feel better physically, mentally. That's all that really matters, man.
Absolutely.
I do want to say that a lot of admiration on your end, because a lot of people, and not to say that that's not that's perfectly fine, but when they go through what you went through with your sister, they just go private, they go dark, and they keep it moving. And you've continued, to, fight for a purpose and continue to be involved with the charity and the stuff that, in relation to what she went through. So for you to have like just the motivation, and I'm sure sometimes it's still tough, but you keep fighting and you keep going, definitely a lot of props to you on that, man. And just keep it going, and stay within the Knicks, with Knicks, because I know, for me, sports is a safe haven whenever I'm going through stuff. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
I'm still at every
game. I'm still at every game. You know what I'm saying? Thank you.
Yeah. No question about it, man. All right. So as we get back to the program, man, we got to talk about the one player that has been rocking MSG these past couple of preseason games, especially the last one against the Pacers, man. And the one that sparked the most controversy on this team, man, just in terms of his role and how this team proceeds going forward with him. And that's Obi. That's Obi. And like I said, every stat, whether you're looking at advanced stat, whatever you're looking at, just shows that this team just plays better with him on the floor. There's more energy. They're playing fast. You picked up a Brunson. I went to the open practice yesterday. They're clearly running plays. They're trying to get out and run faster. They're trying to push the pace, push the tempo. And this is the guy that does it for you. And as a team that has languished, especially in half-court scoring, he gets out. He gets you easier buckets. He's cherry picking, whatever. We take the points however we can get it.
Yeah, he gets a lot of
cherry picking. However we can get it. You know what I mean? But a couple of things. His defense is improving.
Yep.
His jumper's improving, shooting 36% from three in the preseason. Shot the ball very well to finish the season. Obviously, he had a 40-piece for some great games when Julius came out the lineup. You've seen him put the ball out there on the floor with more confidence. I thought there was some highlights. There were some workout videos we saw earlier this summer. I don't know if it was Dave Zenon or who he was working out there with, but he's putting the ball between his legs, behind his back, driving to the basket, and you're starting to see some of that in games right now. So, it just seems like the game is totally slowed down for him. He's playing it. His confidence is at an all-time high. What are you seeing from Obi Toppin? What are you expecting from Obi this season?
I expect, a much better year from Obi. I expect him to play a lot more. Now, the one thing I am interested in, because he really cooked at the end of last year, but I've been around the NBA long enough where sometimes those games don't matter. Not that they don't matter, but like teams aren't playing as hard. Teams are thinking about going on vacation. And so I'm curious to see when it's like if he can do. So obviously Friday night when Obi put on that show, he must have had about 1,800 cherry picking dunks, right? I never see that. That looked like, you play at the park and the dude that don't play defense somehow is getting a pass at the end. Obviously Obi does play defense though. So I'm curious to see if he's gonna get buckets like that in like an opening night, when it's you're on the road in Memphis, game is tight, both teams are locked in. You're playing a Pacer basketball team on Friday night who is probably going to the lottery. So I'm really curious if Obi's going to be able to get those easy buckets against good teams. I'm not saying he won't, I'm not saying he will. I'm really curious about it though. Because like we said, he was getting all those dunks last year at the end of the year. It was games that were kind of like blah. Or like Friday night, the game is kind of like blah. But I think he's gonna play a lot more. I think he's gonna be great. I think he's gonna be awesome. But I'm really, like I said, I'm really curious if he's gonna get those easy buckets when games are a lot tighter.
Yeah.
CP, you had mentioned on the intro that he's caused a lot of controversy, and I think you forgot he caused a lot of controversy on this channel too. And in the KnicksFanTV, in the comment section as well, in the polls. So, I know Alex chose violence that day, but
violence with a pea shooter, man. But it's all good, man. It's all good.
Flamethrower, bro. Flamethrower. We all know it's the big difference.
It's violence with a pea shooter, if you will. But continue.
Flamethrower. Flamethrower with the asterisk. Okay, I got you. Don't worry. I'm correcting you. Don't worry.
I think with him, you guys mentioned the way he leaks out and gets those easy buckets. I think he'll be able to do that. I just think it depends on the team, because we even saw last season he did that, very successfully. A lot of times you saw the opening night against the Celtics. He had some baskets where he leaked out. Sometimes you run into teams that are just not great in transition defense. So, I think he will be able to produce in that area. It just depends on what teams is the matchup. And that's why I had mentioned when I went on SNY that the ability to hit perimeter shots is going to be the key for him. Yeah. Because that translates to whatever team. If you can hit the three, it doesn't matter who's defending you, you're going to hit the three. And so if he can do that, which he definitely did in the second game of the preseason, in less minutes than the first game of the preseason, he is going to put a lot of pressure on the coaching staff and on this front office to figure something out, because although I do think the intention will be to give him more minutes, man, listen, it's preseason, so everyone's getting 20 minutes, right? So we're not going to know until opening night.
Not going to know.
And it's 90, hopefully, if it's a tight game going into the fourth, will Obi even play? When just the pressure mounts, it's just going to be different to see what actually transpires in terms of his minutes versus Randle's minutes. One thing that I definitely see an improvement on, and I know some people don't want to give him credit, but we saw it with Quickly, and I think so far we've seen it with Obi in terms of the defensive awareness. He, in the first two preseason games, I was keeping a close eye on him. His rotations were much better. His understanding of where to pick up his defender was much better. And when you saw that block shot on the windmill dunk, that was a highlight. He jumped from the free throw line. If you pause that play, you see his right foot right on the free throw line. He goes up to block a 3-point shot. So that effort, I'm sure Tom Thibodeau enjoyed more than even the dunk.
So wait, are we giving Thibs development credits here? Is that what we doing?
Listen, man, I know you and Anthony were definitely...
You snuck that one in there. You snuck that one in there real quick.
100%.
You snuck that one in there real quick. He said, if you notice with Quickly and Obi, the defensive awareness is getting better. I'm just asking the questions here. That's all I do. I just ask the questions.
Listen, I would never disregard Thibs' strengths. So I do, expect, because he's one of those guys. There's a lot of defensive coaches in the NBA, but he's a guy that is not a second of play. Like, that's all he drills to these players is defense. So yeah, he definitely should get some credit, especially when you consider a player that, how many other teams could improve his defense like that, but let's see him do it in the season. But man, the biggest thing that this is going to cause is the pressure, because
big time.
When you look at him and Cam, if I ask you guys, who is the most skilled, talented player, just raw ability, between him or Cam, a lot of people may go to Cam's side, but then Cam doesn't have that relationship with the fans that Obi does. And so Obi just having a decent game, the fans want to see him. They don't care. They want to see
1 2 1 2 3 1 2 3. All right, we're back up and running. Where do we leave off? Al, you were gonna jump in, right?
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
We got a little too excited with the Thibs praise. So,
yeah, the Thibs praise froze the stream up. All right, so Al, go ahead.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, we know what.
Down,
Yeah.
We all know what Obi is. Energy. He brings that energy every time he hops on the court. High flying dunks. We had the East Bay, as we saw the last game, 4 electric dunks. And we also know what Obi can do. He's good off score. He's good scoring off cuts. He's in the 78th percentile when it comes to scoring off cuts. He's in the 72nd percentile when it comes to. No, he finished 72% of his shots, finishing his shots around the rim. In the 66th percentile in the NBA amongst bigs. We all know what Obi can do, and we all know he's great out in transition. We know he can bring the ball up. We all know he can leak out. The stuff that he needs to improve on is his rebounding. We need to see him be a better rebounder, being judicious when he decides to leak out and when he needs to stay back and help his team secure that rebound and find somebody else, whether it's just not even having to go out in transition, right? Bringing the ball up slowly, depending on the type of matchup we're in. Maybe it's a big defensive matchup. Maybe every single possession it needs to count, and it's wait in the clock, wait fourth quarter, and you need him back there to make sure that we get every single possession. So his awareness and the game setting will have to improve as well. The defense, we're seeing it improve this during preseason. Hopefully it translates into the regular season. But I think the big thing for Obi that I really want to see is just, a consistency with knocking down his jumpers. We saw it. He went 4 for 7, I believe, this past preseason game against the Pacers. He's talked about shooting with confidence and that he's now embracing shooting with confidence. He was concerned. He was always looking over his shoulder. We know the first couple of years, making sure he was doing everything perfectly. But now when he has that open shot, he says he's going to let it fly. That's the type of stuff that you need to see. As long as it's consistent, he's going to get more minutes. It's just, how does Thibs, and I've been saying this, how is Thibs going to manage the minutes between Obi and Randall? I think he needs to treat Randall on that Giannis Antetokounmpo way, where it's 32 minutes flat during the regular season. Give Obi the rest of the minutes and figure out how you can get him on there for more time, because every time he's on there, those dunks just bring a lot of energy, not only to the fans, but to the team as well. It just puts the defense on their heels, and it helps the team just get even more motivated.
Yeah.
Like you hear quickly talking about CP, you were there for in Harlem for Knicks open practice. And you heard quickly talk about it. You heard how quickly it was like, oh, my favorite moment was Obi's East Bay dunk, and even though maybe some jovialness to it, there's some legitimacy to it as well. When you see your teammate do that, it kind of just gives you this adrenaline rush. It gives you this power that, oh yeah, we can do this. We can either come back from being down in a deficit, or we can just smack the living daylights out of our opponents. And that type of stuff is just a game changer in these environments. So Obi, indeed, I'm confident in him. It's just getting more minutes. Thibs is starting to trust him. You listen to Thibs' presser. He talks about getting that trust. And Obi, he talks about the energy as well, how Obi's improved every single season. He's putting in the work and how it's infectious. So I'm excited for Obi this season. It just comes down to minutes and getting enough playing time. And I think it will happen. I think he'll get the minutes this season because he's shown it.
He's got to, man. And let me get to this Thibs quick soundbite on Obi and how he's felt about him. So to everybody in the chat, once again, hit that thumbs up button for you boys. Knicks Weekly presented by Mancaped. Here's Thibs on Obi.
I don't know if they are. Their energy plays, and so I think that. But I also think I mentioned this yesterday about who Obi is. He's just a great energy guy, and you see it in the game, when he runs the floor or he's taking the ball to the backside or he's dunking the ball. But you get energy from him every day when he walks in the gym. Like, it could be middle of winter and you're in a tough stretch, and he just bounces in. He's always high energy. And I think that's contagious. I think the body language is telling you something. And, he's a breath of fresh air. So I think it helps to lift everyone. Brings great energy to every practice. And I also think that's why he's gotten better. I just want the 2 points. So, but the thing is, he's a great finisher. So I want him to be himself. He plays with emotion, and the value of a dunk is pretty high when you look at the point value. So I think the more he dunks, the better. I'm not for, all the crazy stuff, but, he's gifted, and I don't want to take his gift away from him.
All right, so that was Thibs and Obi. And it's funny because I always wondered, what Thibs was feeling like, when Obi's doing an East Bay in the middle of a game. But as he said, that's who he is. I'm not trying to take that away from him. And give credit to Thibs, because as an old school coach, you would think that, he would kind of get under his skin. But one of the things that we learned even last year with Quickly, or was it 2 years ago, how he had implemented a 4-point line for guys like Quick, who's trying to pull up from deep in practice. Things like that, now allowing Obi to be himself. So to me, that's a positive sign from the coach. But he spoke highly about the energy that Obi brought to the team. And, even with Obi and Quickly, and he talked about energy even last year it was just puzzling why he never went to him more, or went to him in other spots when Julius wasn't giving you that energy, or when the starting lineup was lifeless, or another third quarter where they're starting off slow, and Thibs on the post game, we needed more energy, we needed more energy, we needed more energy. Your energy was sitting on the bench half of the time, so it's just, again, it's going to be interesting to see come October 19th what changes will be made. Will it come at will Julius's minutes come down? Will they play together? Probably not. We're going to have to wait and see, man.
Let me ask you this. If on opening day, finish this sentence, I will be disappointed if Obi plays less than blank minutes against Memphis on opening night.
20.
An athletic team, which
20.
you would think.
20.
So if he plays less than 20 minutes.
Yeah.
So 20 minutes is the
that.
benchmark we're looking at.
20.
Yeah.
I mean, you got Brandon Clark, you got Jaren Jackson. That's his game. That's his game. Less than 20 to me would be a disappointment. I don't know if Jaren Jackson's going to play. I think he's still come back from injury, but I'm just saying Memphis is, their style. They play undersized, they play athletic, they play out in transition. I think that's a good matchup for them. So we'll see.
Hope he gets more.
Hope so, man. Hope so. What do you guys think in the chat? What number would you say it's a disappointment, as JD said? What number in terms of Obi's minutes? Leave some numbers in the chat. And I won't shout you guys out. I want to shout out my guy Tom from Huntington, $50 super chat. Says salute to the panel, salute to the chat, the callers, and to Mancaped. Best show for the fans by the fans. Let's go. Shout out my guy Tom from Huntington. All right, let's take a call. Let's go to Kenny from LI. Kenny, what's going on?
Hey, CP, how are you?
Good. How you doing?
Hello, everyone.
Good.
Doing very well, thanks. For my credibility, I've been a Knicks fan since Knicks had the bomb squad on the bench with
Nice.
Kenny Skywalker, which reminds me of Obi.
Yeah.
And to go forward there, they're having a great preseason. But you can't go too much on preseason. I remember when Charles Smith was averaging 20 points in the preseason. Preseason doesn't mean anything. But what I
Can't
do
get
see,
too high, can't get too low.
Right.
what I do see from this preseason is that the team, since they've been together for so long, first of all, big shout out to the Knicks. It's a great time to be a Knicks fan. I mean, the Knicks from top to bottom look great. I mean, the drafting, the trades, and the signings, and they stay in their place. First of all, Thibs is a great coach. All right, so let me get back to this preseason thing. From what I see for this preseason, the Knicks, from their experience altogether, are making great decisions on the court. And the addition of Jalen Brunson, I see them improving the whole year. And second round is top for them for me this year, and just keep improving. I mean, much credit also to the whole Knicks staff, because I mean, how many first round picks do we have? Right?
Yeah.
And how many first-round picks did we get for our first-round pick this year that we know wasn't going to get any time, because we still have complaining about Cam Reddish getting time? We got 3 first-round picks for this first-round pick. This from top to bottom, this staff is incredible. I don't know why anybody's complaining. I think everybody where it's supposed to be. It's a pecking order. That's how Thibs wants it, and that's why we're getting good play from the bench. And yes, he is a great development coach. People are responsible for their actions. People are taking their job serious here. You know, so I don't want to. I get a little sour when I hear people talking about Thibs and give this guy minutes. It's not about minutes. It's about wins. All right. And
how many wins this season then?
They
How many wins?
In practice and do it in the game.
How many wins you going with, Kenny?
Thank you for giving me time.
Kenny. Okay, thank you, bro. Thank you. Well, I think he said he expected him to get to the second round. So Kenny's expecting a big year.
So
wow. Because I'm saying he's saying everything is all gravy and everything. So I just wanted to
Kenny,
see
he said
what's
it's
his
about
expectations.
Wins. I mean, they only won 37 games last year, Kenny. You know what I'm saying? Like, we got to
sounded like a 50 burger.
Yeah.
Hype
that
train
sounded
over
like a 50 burger call. I think he might still be on the line. Hold on, Kenny, you still there?
Hey, I'm not talking about 50 burger, but I'm talking about with the resilience of this team. and everything they have put together for right now, they might come out from AC. They make it to the second round. They might do an upset here.
Okay.
I mean, this team this team has from top to bottom. This team is very talented and explosive. And if they could put it all together, especially with these young players getting better, we could be the surprise of the East.
Okay.
Seriously.
All right. Appreciate the call, man. Rate that call in the chat, man. No 1 being trash, 5 being facts. Rate Kenny's call in the chat.
Well, as I said earlier in the program, CP, I mean, better point guard play makes this team substantially better. And we have better point guard play, and we know this team.
Yeah.
We know what they're capable of after what we did in the 2020-2021 season. Also, if you look at last year, and listen, by no means was last year good. We were expecting to have a much better year, maybe win 48 games after the year we had before, but we also didn't win 10 games last year either. Like, some fans act like we were 10-72, and don't get me wrong, last year sucked. It sucked. But all those games we blew, I think with a better point guard play, we win. We don't lose the game in Portland. We don't lose that Laker game. There are so many more, but those two always come to mind the most: the Laker game and the Portland, Oklahoma City on Valentine's Day, the Nets on February 16th. I'm not saying you're not going to blow a game here and there. You will, but I think with better point guard play, games like that you don't blow. And if you win those 4 games, you got 41, 42 wins, maybe, man, you're in the playoffs. So I'm just saying, last year was bad, but it's not like we were 10-72 either.
Yeah, and I think a lot of fans would agree that they left a couple on the table. Chuck always said that in the chat. A lot of games the team left on the table last year. So, as you said, a couple of better decisions, better rotations here and there, and maybe they're on the other side of 40, right? Maybe they're in the play-in competing for something. So, I thought Kenny had a good point, just in terms of, what Brunson will bring to the team and improving the overall decision-making of the entire team, because then you still have a Rose and a year 4 quickly coming off or year 3 coming off the bench, solidifying that second unit.
He looks really a lot better in preseason, by the way. Quickly just looks stronger, quicker, faster, smarter. He just looks better at everything.
Looking good, man. So, look, man, I'm looking forward to it. Knicks tipping off again in Indiana this Wednesday night. 2 more preseason games to go. And then the real fun begins, man. October 19th in Memphis, man. And any last words for the fans out there?
I'm just very excited, and thanks for having me on. I'm very excited for the season, but I'm always excited in October. Ask me if I'm excited in January. Yeah. But I'm another Knicks season. Friday, October 21st will be my 22nd straight home opener I'll be at. Nice. I'm very excited. I got a great outfit that won't be seen until that day, so it's gonna be great.
All right, no doubt, man. Well, yeah, we definitely got to get you back on the show more often. So we had a great time, man. Fellas, let's talk about the Giants real quick, man. Let's talk about the Giants real quick.
And Jets.
We'll get to them in a little bit. Well, let's talk because Ant's a Giants fan. Man. Let's get to the Giants real quick, man, because I just got to say how proud I am of the resiliency of this group. I mean, they went to London. I didn't know one receiver that was playing on that team outside of Darius Slayton, and he was giving us nothing since probably the end of last year. He was dropping passes. He wasn't running routes. Saquon has been beasting. Daniel Jones, give Daniel Jones credit, man. Daniel Jones, his pocket presence has improved. I think, JD, you sent me a stat. The turnovers are coming down. And the defense, again, brand new players, man. Brand new everybody. Kayvon Thibodeau stepping up. The defense is coming to play. When we lost to Dory Jackson in that game, I thought there was no way we're going to win this game. And the defense came up with stop after stop in crunch time. 4-1. The division is ferocious, but 4-1, I'll take it, man. I don't care. Best 4-1, worst 4-1. I'm just happy that by week 3, the season is a complete dumpster fire, and I have reason to watch every week.
Has your respect for Danny Jones gone up? Because that man is between him and Saquon Barkley doing a lot of work.
Yes.
Over in London.
Yeah, it has. I have to admit it. It has. Now, do I want to keep him and not get a franchise quarterback? I wouldn't say that, but I think he's playing well, man. He's playing very well. And like I said, we don't have any receivers, bro.
That's the thing. When you look at Jalen Hurts in Philadelphia, and they got A.J. Brown and Devonta Smith, he looks a lot better with more weapons. So in terms of Daniel Jones, I want him to get an opportunity, because even when you look at the system and the play calling that they've had, they still haven't gone into that Buffalo, Kansas City. Mike Kafka from Kansas City is their offensive play caller. Still haven't gone into those deep routes and deep play calls, and it's because they just don't have the personnel.
They don't have it.
So when you look at, in addition to that, the team is 4-1, and they're playing the way they're playing. I mean, listen, they may say the Giants may be the worst 4-1 team ever, but the Giants may have the best coaching staff in the NFL. I'll tell you that. You know, so. Yeah. It's been very impressive, and man, you know, I think at this point you have to believe that the Giants have a chance to win every game that they go into. They're going into with a chance to win. So when they play the Baltimore Ravens this week at home, after what just happened, Wink Martindale, defensive coordinator for the Ravens, revenge game for him. He knows Lamar Jackson, right? So let's look at what type of game plan he has for them.
Yeah,
and I think now the excitement is back. You know, Wink Martindale against Aaron Rodgers in the second half, 0 points.
0 points. Or was it 2 because they had the safety?
Well, the safety, but that was they wanted to do that.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
But to Aaron Rodgers, 0 points in the second half, man. And as you mentioned, CP, they're doing it. Wan'Dale Robinson, their second-round pick rookie, who was going to be a big part of this offense, not playing. Kadarius Toney, their first-round pick, who I don't even know if he'll ever play.
Yeah,
let's not even talk about Kenny Galladay.
Yeah, cooked.
You know, so
cooked. Sterling gone.
Practice squad players. They just signed Jalen Smith, the linebacker from Dallas, off the street, and he's playing well. So on both sides, they're just doing it with different players every week because of their injuries, and I think that's been the most impressive.
Yeah.
It was a great night in New York, except the Mets.
Except the Mets, man. Yeah. We'll see what happens
been
tomorrow.
A great night, man.
All right,
wait, I thought you said
show.
You were going to the game, to the Baltimore game.
I am. Yeah, I'm gonna be there Sunday.
Oh,
yeah, I'm gonna be there Sunday, man. I'm gonna be there.
You got to get there early to get that tailgate.
I'm early. Yeah.
Man.
I'm in there 9:30, early, getting after it, ready to go.
It's a good game too, man. You're gonna see Lamar Jackson, so it should be a good game.
So it's gonna be a good one, man.
But we can't leave this show without talking about the green and white. Come on, guys.
All right,
we
let's
put
go,
up a 40
man.
burger on the Miami Dolphins.
Let's go.
Come on, man. Zach Wilson go 14 for 21, 210 yards. He got his rushing touchdown. But it wasn't just Zach Wilson. It was the Breece Hall show. That man had close to 200 total yards, 97 yards rushing, 100 yards receiving, 1 TD. This man is a beast. Dolphins couldn't stop anybody. And you want to talk about defense? Talk about our 2 cornerbacks, DJ Reed, Sauce Gardner, baby. Sauce, love it. Between Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, 70 yards total, 10 receptions, beast. Come on, man. Carl Lawson's back, baby. Jets are doing some things. Salah said he was keeping the receipts like I am around here. This man's got it going. Jets Nation, we up and running.
Listen, Kayvon Thibodeau has played well so far. He hasn't gotten a sack yet.
No sacks yet.
It's gonna. He's getting there. He was held a lot, but man, I want a Sauce Gardner. You know that, Alex. We did the mocks. I want a Sauce Gardner so bad, and he already looks like a top 5, top 8 corner in the league. So you guys got a good pick there. CP, Alex, who you think wins this week? Dallas, Sunday Night Football, 4-1 Dallas Cowboys, and the Philadelphia Eagles. That's going to be a big game for us to watch because,
I'm going for a tie. Get us up in the standings. Give me a tie, man. Straight up.
Well, I guess if we go 5-1, then I think you would want the Eagles to lose.
Yeah.
Because that'll make the Eagles 5-1, and then the Cowboys.
Have you guys played a divisional opponent yet? You guys played the Cowboys already, right?
We lost to Dallas.
Yeah. Lost to Dallas, man. All right, let me read these super chats. Good show. Shout out Leo GM says it's not optics for Thibs. He respects years of experience, so it's Evan's job to lose. I think Grimes edges him out in terms of minutes by Christmas. Shout out Jay Boogie says Anthony D. All roses, my brother. Your input that you provide throughout this whole entire Knicks community, you deserve your flowers. Thank you for keeping us graybeards inspired. Shout out Troy Davis says Amari had Nash, Kmart had J Kidd, Obi had Rose, only 15% of his career. He always was talented, but Thibs killing it at every mistake, killing his confidence. Micah Parker, shout out Micah Parker, says salute Knicks Nation. And then Jamaica Queen 22 says Giants Nation, you dig, 4-1, and we're just getting started. Absolutely, man. Reminder to you guys out there, the show's presented by Mancaped. Go to mancaped.com and a promo code KFTV for 20% off plus free shipping. What else? Also that these shows are available in audio podcast format, so no reason to miss it. Catch it on all major podcast platforms. And we are everywhere. Tomorrow, around lunchtime, 11 a.m. to about 1 a.m., I'm back with the Barnett Foundation. So we'll have a live show there. I think we'll have John Starks on the show, a couple other guests. So make sure you guys tap in with us during the lunch hour. We'll have a show there live from the Quaker Ridge Country Club. So shout out to the Barnett Foundation. I'll be there with my guy Jake Brown from SNY and New York Post. And speaking of SNY and the Post, man, check out JD's debut on New York Post and SNY. I'm trying to find my screen. And SNY TV, man. We're going to throw it up on the channel, but if not, you can catch it on JD's channel right now. He sat down with our guy, Dexter Henry, to talk about Obi as we wrapped up the show on Obi. And JD, I'll let you talk about it, man.
Nah, man, just check it out. It was definitely an honor. To be able to go on with Dexter and talk some Knicks. We covered a few things and we looked into, the future this season. So definitely, check it out, and shout out to SNY, shout out to the New York Post Sports, and definitely shout out to Dexter, for reaching out and giving me an opportunity to talk Knicks basketball on another platform. So yeah, and as always, shout out to UCP. Obviously, I don't think I would get any other opportunity if you didn't give me the opportunity here on KnicksFanTV. So definitely always want to pay homage. So let's go for a great season this year. I'm pumped.
JD,
absolutely, man.
JD, you killed it, bro.
Absolutely
killed it on SNY, New York Post, man. And I'm just shocked, bro. I'm just shocked. The only thing I was shocked about, you didn't go 50 burger. I said 42 to 44 wins.
He kept it conservative.
Here we go.
He kept it
conservative,
CP. Bro. He kept it conservative. He went with my 42.
I'm learning from you.
He went with my 42. It happens, man. You have seasons where you get optimistic and then you see what's going on. So you dial it back a little bit to leave for the surprise, to leave for the exceeding of those expectations. That's where it is, man. I'm at 42, man. So
I said 42 to 44 range. I did it on purpose so people could, get amped. So that means I still have not given a legitimate record. That's why I gave him a range. So I guess whenever we discuss that
prediction show, probably next Monday, most likely next Monday.
Yeah, either prediction show or opening night.
Yeah,
and we'll give our final thoughts.
Let's do it, and we'll have to do another player expectations show later this week. We'll have Knicks Pacers on Wednesday, and a big announcement Wednesday night, man. I can't tell the people right now, but JD and Alex already know. But we got a big announcement coming up, so we'll make that on Wednesday. So make sure you guys tap in. Knicks Post Game Live, Knicks versus Pacers. So we make that announcement, and that's it, man. We'll catch up with you guys later this week. Wednesday it is. Peace.